All right, here with Kyle Dake on the eve of Final X. Describe to me what the preparation been like from April to now. Obviously, the focus, you know your opponent. Just how much have you been tactically just focusing on what the problems Zahid could pose for you?
I mean, I just made one mistake in that match. I was moving pretty well. First time up was also a little bit different. I don't even know what time we wrestled, but it was late out there. So, just calculating for some of those variables, and then also just kind of reinvigorating to, have to suffer that. You don't want to. It was my first time back from the Olympics, and up however much weight it was, 26 pounds, and just like, okay, well, it's a little bit different than when you're at 74. You're not going to be able to just go out and squeeze guys and throw them down. You're going to have to move your hands, be relaxed, and then there's just you still don't want to make mistakes, and that, I mean, you want to make mistakes, but you don't want to make mistakes that'll cost you. When I was at the Olympics wrestling Takatani, it was like, all right, go out and just score points, and made a couple mistakes, got my feet crossed, and then that was the difference, and that's a hard lesson to learn, but it's something that, it was a part of my path, and learn from that, and also just don't want to go out and stare at a guy, and try to force something that might not be there. And I think a lot of it's just like kind of do what you do, and small minor adjustments, nothing wild. I've been trying to hone my body into getting to where I can wrestle the way I want to wrestle, and sometimes that looks a little bit different to an outsider. But it's getting there for me.
Yeah. You mentioned the mistake. I'm sure it's around the 2-2 sequence, but as you look at that, what was that mistake?
I just got a little overzealous with being on the shot clock, trying to make sure. I was like, okay, let's go get it. So I was pressuring, and left my left hand high, And normally I'm fine there, especially if a guy goes to the leg there, but he did a really good job of disappearing, and he tried it again a couple times in the match and caught him with a hook, and a lot, it's really simple changes that need to be made, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Up in weight, you had to run basically 2 gauntlets. You wrestled the U.S. Open, a lot of matches, World Team Trials, a lot of matches. Not something you've had to do in a while. How has your body felt recovered? We're still see the evidence of the Keckeisen match under that eye.
This was before. This is Joe Seeley. Yeah, this is Joe Seeley.
Oh, Joe.
So Joe and I were wrestling in practice. I shot a lefty swing, and he just decided to pick his foot up instead of sprawl, and just.
Oh, dang.
But so it was already cut going into the match.
Got
and
it.
First 5 seconds, Parker gave it a nice little double leg. So, but yeah, I mean, that's wrestling. I've had cuts before, and it's no big deal. But as far as running a gauntlet, there's a lot of good guys in the weight, and just getting, like I said, getting used to wrestling those guys, and being able to go score points is, it's really been a focus for a while. Just like, how do you go score points? How do you be creative in that way? And sometimes I get there and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just shut this guy down. He's not gonna be able to do anything. And other times I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get this guy. So a lot of it is just like making that commitment to going to get the guy. And it's wrestling, man. I love wrestling. This is easy. This is fun. The hard part is getting up early and getting in your extra workout, and making sure that you're getting your sleep and recovery and doing all that. I mean, as a professional, I've been doing it for so long that it doesn't seem like it's that difficult anymore. But it's still just about doing it and going through it. And obviously it was a lot of fun to be able to wrestle in those tournaments and get those reps in. I forget how many matches total I had, maybe 8 matches total since then. 2 more here, and then try to get some matches going into the World Championships, and just keep getting those reps, like I was talking about in the press conferences. Getting the reps of feeling these taller guys, the leverage is a little bit different. The windows are a little bit different too. So how can I make sure I hit those windows with precision?
Yeah. Do you recover better up at 86? Do you feel a little better? Yeah. So you're feeling better after.
Way better. Yeah. I mean, I could have wrestled the very next day, a whole other tournament. Way better. I mean, it's just different type of tired. I usually spend the 5 weeks leading into it, like that's on my serious weight cut used to come in, and now it's like, okay, 5 weeks of making sure I'm fueled and getting really good reps in and getting really tired, like putting myself in, you know, not crazy situations, but difficult situations to improve. So I still feel really good. My body feels really good. I'm making strides. When I get stagnant is kind of where I feel like, okay, maybe it's going to be time, but I'm not stagnant yet. So, and I still like it. So I'm going to keep going.
Awesome. Now thinking about the Zahid matchup a little more, everyone knows what makes Zahid great. He's got incredible technician, great athlete, good speed. But we've seen, I kind of referenced it a little bit, he can fade a little bit in matches. He can fade through 2 out of 3. Is that something you've identified as, all right, this is a potential opportunity for me to exploit?
I mean, I just want to go out and wrestle. And, you know, when you put too much emphasis on the other guy, you start to lose yourself. So, yeah, do I plan for who I'm going to wrestle? Of course. Do I think about little things that I can do that I can control? I can't control how tired he gets. I can't control, you know, what he's doing, you know, leading up to the event. But what I can control is where I put my hands, how I move my feet, where my head is, you know, what am I doing outside the tie, inside the tie, what am I doing with my feet, circling left or right or forward or backward, what am I doing? And by focusing on that, it makes it a lot easier for me to go out and just be myself.
Yeah. Sort of unrelated to Final X, but I just want to get your thoughts. I interviewed Jordan Burroughs this week. He shared an exchange he had with you. Could you maybe just talk about that decision and maybe some you know, differences in your perspective or how things have maybe changed for you over the last couple of years?
I mean, yeah, just rivals, you know, and we've had our disagreements and how things go down, and we're both trying to be apex predators out there. But at the end of the day, you know, obviously we see things that happen in life, you know, especially with like Ben Askren. Like this dude is really struggling right now. And you know, I want to see him come out of it, you know, and at the time, Jordan, I knew he was struggling because I went through the same thing. And I wasn't even sure if he got the message. I just texted him and was like, hey dude, like, thinking about you, praying for you. You know, I know your dad would be proud. And that was just something that I just felt compelled to do, and just say, hey dude, like, squash everything that was, you know, and just let you know I'm thinking about you, and hopefully you can come out of this as best as you can, because it's not going to be the same. You're never going to be the same when something like that happens, and I know that firsthand.
Yeah, and then, you know, for you, going through what you went through the trials and the Olympics, do you feel like you had that opportunity to, I mean, maybe, I think you said it at the Olympics, like, I can really, like, mourn this now? Is that something that you were able to go through?
Yeah, actually. I mean, I feel like I've done a really good job of grieving and getting through it. You know, just, I think about him a lot still. I mean, I don't think I ever will not, you know, and especially when I'm looking at my kids and, you know, I see my son running around, I see glimpses of my dad, you know, I'm like, oh man. And then, or think about, like, you know, what would my dad think is funny? Because that was just the best part about him, is just his infectious laugh. And just thinking about when the kids do something silly and how much he would burst into laughter. So, yeah, I mean, last year was just insane. You know, going through that and having to just navigate it, you know, you felt like there was this, like, burden, this fog kind of on you the whole time. I've said it to my wife a million times, but I was like, man, that, I can't believe I took a bronze medal. Like, that was the worst year of training I have ever had. And I think in a way it was a blessing, just because I was more relaxed and just like, all right, well, it is what it is, let's go, and we'll figure it out on the way through it. So, you know, still remnants of it, and there always will be, but yeah, just be your best and go out and try to compete at the way you know how to. And yeah, I'm obviously really sad that he's gone, but also really thankful for everything they did for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kyle, really, as always, appreciate your time. Is there anything else before we let you get back to your day?
You know, just glory to Jesus Christ. He's just been a huge part of my life getting through this grieving process. And, thank you to all my sponsors. Spartan Combat has been great. Indian Line Wrestling Club, Pure and Clean Sports, Titan Mercury Wrestling Club. So I have a lot of people who are behind me and really just trying to help me pursue this goal, and really thankful for it all.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yep.